With regard to medical schemes, what was said about Risk Equalization Fund as well as National Health Insurance Program?
The Risk Equalization Fund is an interesting concept. It looks at different size medical schemes and the members of those medical schemes, where you have, at the moment, you've got a number of old schemes, smaller schemes with older members, okay, and those could be running into financial difficulty because older people need more medical care than younger people. And then you've got very, very big schemes where the majority of those members are younger. And the Risk Equalization Fund is to try and basically cross-subsidize the risks on those schemes, the risks being the amount of claims that people are putting in. We don't know how this is going to come about, and we really don't know how far ahead this is going to be.
Doesn't seem viable right now.
It does. We're questioning the viability of such an idea, yeah.
Okay. And the National Health Medical Scheme?
Well, if you look at developed countries who have national health insurance, that health insurance is very, very hard used. It's you know, for example, very often if you go to countries like Britain or Italy, the population that use health insurance will tell you that if they go see a specialist who's contracted to the state, they'll have to make an appointment in 6 or 7 months' time. Whereas if they go see a private specialist, they can get an appointment within a week. Yes, they're paying for the private specialist, but in certain cases, you can't wait 5 or 6 months. These are the problems that come about with national health insurance, and it's going to cost a fortune. The first step that Minister Gordhan mentioned in his speech yesterday was a public-private partnership, and he mentioned a couple of hospitals, including Chris Hani Baragwanath, where a pilot scheme is in place already.
So there's hope on that front?
We'll see.
Every year sin taxes are increased. What's the case this year?
We've increased sin taxes. Tobacco and alcohol products, it's going to cost us more to go to the bar.
I think there's the general relief given to Chief Buthelezi in that the duties on sorghum and traditional beer don't normally get increased by as much as the whiskies and the cigars and the cigarettes. But apart from that, yeah, business as usual.
Business as usual.
Happens every year.
Now, something interesting, an olive branch was offered to non-compliant taxpayers. Let's talk about the voluntary disclosure program. My question to you is, do they work? Do they work, Mauro?
Yes and no. This is the second, let's call it amnesty, that's been announced. A couple of years ago, 2004, 2005, we had the amnesty for taxpayers, which was mainly geared at offshore investments and offshore bank accounts. This year it's a little bit different. What they're looking at here is cash-generating businesses, where they are not paying or not declaring the amounts payable to SARS, and they're obviously not paying it, and also they're not paying their full VAT amounts. They're going to be subject, and the owners of these businesses are going to be subject to lifestyle audits, probably done by independent auditors. And together with that, Minister Gordhan's mentioned that employers who've deducted PAYE from their employees and have collected VAT and haven't paid it over, that's the other part of that voluntary disclosure program that he wants these employers and these business people to come forward and disclose. He very, very vehemently mentioned that SARS is not the bank of last resort. So they have to comply to these regulations. And then with greater cooperation on bank secrecy and enhanced measures to prevent money laundering, you know, individuals who've got undisclosed offshore bank accounts and undisclosed earnings, they're welcome to come forward. They won't be paying penalties, but they will be paying interest, and obviously they'll have to pay the outstanding tax to the fiscus.
Certainly a good opportunity to take advantage of there. Let's talk about a subject which is close to everyone's heart. What was said about fuel price?
The fuel levy will be going up by 25.5 cents, effective from April, and that has got a potentially large effect on prices and the inflation rate. The fuel price and fuel products, firstly, have a relatively large share in the inflation basket, and then they've got some very clear feed-through effects on second and third round inflation, because fuel prices are an input in almost everything we consume. So, yeah, potentially
It's inflationary.
inflationary.
Over the next 3 years, spending increases by 2.9 trillion. A, where does that money come from? B, where's it going?
Oh,
Money's coming from the fiscus and from government debt.
yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And it's going into the budget departments, or the votes that it normally goes into education, into healthcare, into safety and security, and with a renewed emphasis on basic service delivery and development of human settlements. So hopefully into providing services on the local level right there on the ground to people.
They're talking about having 900,000 people on ARVs at the moment. It's a scary number. They're also speaking about translating the school workbooks into all 11 languages. These are just some of the areas where this money is going to be going to. We have to also remember that in the budget they increased childcare grants and they increased old age pensions.
Very interesting. Yes, Paul?
I think just maybe one thing to add to what Mara said is that there's a big priority and an emphasis on job creation. So over the medium term, a lot of this money is to be spent to create 4.5 million jobs, or to be more accurate, job opportunities through the expanded public works program. And that's going to be, that is one of the focuses of the Zuma administration, and that's going to be taking up a large chunk of the money.
This budget didn't say much, but it couldn't say much at the end of the day. It needed to be very well balanced, it needed to be well thought out, and I think the minister got it right. He spoke a lot about job creation and a lot about not leaving legacies for our children and our grandchildren, which in some of the developed countries with some of the rescue planes that they've handed out is exactly what they've done. They've created a legacy that their children and their grandchildren are going to have to pay for. And like Paul said, we've got to look forward to the future and hope that we can reduce the debt levels that we have to incur now, and from there build the future economy of South Africa on this platform.
Thank you. Paul?
I'd just like to add maybe one point to what Mara said. The current administration is under a lot of pressure on at least two fronts. And the one is to create jobs, arrest the loss of jobs and create jobs according to the targets and promises. And the other is to have a cleaner, more efficient government that's delivering services effectively at a lower price, especially on the municipal level. Because what's in the back of I think everyone's mind, especially in government, is the municipal elections for next year. And this budget didn't give a lot of wiggle room to the government, because there's not a lot of money there to be spent on these things. So the emphasis was put on increasing efficiencies and better service delivery. Now, that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for this year and over the medium term, to see if government can be more efficient and do more with less.